people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Okay, we'll start with this. It would seem that Most Valuable Promotions has gone ahead and signed unbeaten up-and-comer, the babyface assassin, Guadalupe Medina, the undefeated 22-year-old Nicaraguan-American standout and currently number 2 contender with both the WBO and the IBF at minimum. A 5-time Junior Olympic national champion, Medina has already established herself as one of the brightest young stars in women's boxing. Now, she joins MVPW as we continue building the global home of women's boxing. From Maywood, California to the world stage, Lupita carries the pride of Nicaragua with her every time she steps into the ring. The next great Nicaraguan boxer to follow the legacy of Chocolatito. You don't often see a lot of Nicaraguan boxers, but when you do, they're usually pretty good, and that's what Lupita is, sporting an unblemished record of 12 wins with no losses and no draws, 3 recorded knockouts. Last in action in November of the previous year when she knocked out Lilian Almaraz in what was her 4th fight that year. She fought 4 times in the previous year, once in February, again in May, again in August, then again in November. So she has been busy. The way a young fighter's supposed to be in the early goings of their career. She had been fighting on Tom Loeffler's 360 Promotions shows. And I've been wondering about Tom Loeffler and 360 Promotions because he seems to have taken an active role over there at Zuffa as being their point man. I get the impression that Tom has already funneled a good number of his male fighters over there to Zuffa, but I don't know about the female fighters because I haven't heard about any female signings over at Zuffa. So does that then mean that whatever female fighters he had under contract are now free agents? Lupita Medina would be the second 360 Promotions fighter to migrate over to MVP. Unless I'm mistaken, the first was Iana Verduzco. Right Hook Roxy. It was recently announced that she signed to MVP. Now Lupita Medina, she's joined her. But those weren't the only girls that Tom had fighting on his shows under contract. There was also Mizuki Hiruta, who up until recently was boxing on his shows as well. She recently boxed on the undercard of Usyk versus Rico Verhoeven on the Pyramids at Giza show. Will she be the next fighter to migrate over to MVP from 360? She might be, because Guadalupe Medina just did. And let me tell you, Guadalupe Medina has a lot of tools. This is a very skilled young fighter. Good speed, good shot selection, knows how to handle herself inside and outside of the pocket. Good feet.
Lupita.
Very agile, on her toes, bouncing in and out of striking distance. I believe that she is trained by Manny Robles.
Lupita.
She's a very good fighter, campaigning in the women's minimum weight division, where Germany's own Sarah Borman holds both the WBA and WBO titles. Yokasti Avalle, she's got the WBC, and Canada's own Kim Clavel has the IBF. So it just so happens that Lupita Medina is in line to fight for both the IBF and WBO titles, but with Kim Clavel out with child. She's pregnant. Being honest with you, I don't know that she comes back to the sport of boxing after giving birth, after having already been a champion at 2 weights, at light fly, and minimum. I don't know that Kim doesn't decide to call it a career to spend more time raising her family, because she might. In her absence, the blue and gold title might go to Lupita! And of course, Lupita could always go after the WBO title as well, that's held by Sarah Borman. Sarah being a unified champion, that would afford Lupita the chance to fight for not just 1, but 2 alphabet titles in one fell swoop. Lupita! She's got a few ways that she could play it. If it were up to me, I would direct her towards Kim Clavel's vacant IBF title, maybe do 1 or 2 defenses of that belt, then challenge Sarah Borman, because Sarah's a pretty good fighter and she's very experienced, where Lupita still needs more of that. She's only got 12 fights to Sarah's 22. Lupita! I'd get Lupita the blue belt first, then go after the others. This is a great signing, and you wonder, who have MVP jettisoned to make room for Lupita? Who have they gotten rid of? Because I don't imagine they still have all the same fighters they had when they started. I haven't seen Naomi Valle boxing on any of their shows since she lost her MVP debut. Yeah, there are a few fighters that you haven't seen boxing on MVP's more recent shows, and it's nothing against those fighters, but a part of running a promotional outfit is trimming the fat, shedding the excess, the dead weight, and focusing on the fighters that have a future. Lupita Medina has a future, 22 years old, unbeaten, well-schooled. I see a champion in this fighter! This was a very good signing for MVP, and I look forward to Lupita Medina boxing on their shows. Elsewhere in the world of boxing, Devin Haney turns up the heat on Shakur Stevenson. Devin Haney has kept the pressure on Shakur through social media, sharing an old video clip of Stevenson publicly calling for a fight with him and captioning it, "Rumor has it that Shakur has signed to Zuffa. Quote unquote, Debo is coming." Do you know how ridiculous it is for a careful fighter like Devin Haney to nickname himself Debo? He's no bully. He's not bullying anybody. He spends a whole fight keeping away from a guy, not taking it to him. The clip showed Stevenson in an earlier stage of his career making his intentions plain. "We've got to fight the champ. Set it up. Me and Devin can lock in after he fights Kambosos. Let's get it on." All of a sudden he wants to fight Shakur? Why? The implication of Devin's post is straightforward. Stevenson wanted this fight when it suited him, and Haney has not forgotten. The timing of the post carries its own context. Haney's immediate situation at welterweight has shifted, with Keyshawn Davis recently elevated to number 1 in the WBO welterweight rankings, creating a mandatory obligation that could complicate or delay any Stevenson negotiation. Devin and Bill picked a pretty weird time to start advocating for a Stevenson fight. Sharing a Stevenson call-out clip at the same moment the mandatory picture is developing reads as a reminder to the wider audience, and to Stevenson specifically, that Haney has not moved on from the fight he wants the most. I thought the Ryan Garcia fight was the fight that he wanted the most, and after that, the Rolly Romero fight. Now it's Shakur? The weight impasse remains the central obstacle. Haney has ruled out both a catch weight and a rehydration clause, insisting the fight happens at full welterweight with a belt on the line. Oh, okay, then that explains why he wants to do that now, because he knows that Shakur hasn't actually fought as a welterweight, and for Shakur, who used to fight as low as 126, moving up to 147, be it sort of a disadvantage because he would be new there. He would be new to the weight where Devin has already fought there at least once. Conversation centered around Devin and Shakur is not a new one. At the same time, it's not a conversation that I've spent a whole lot of time on, mostly because what could be more boring than putting these two guys in the ring with each other? Stevenson has said he will not come to 147 without a rehydration clause to limit how much his opponent can weigh in on fight night. Bill Haney, he talks too fucking much, has been equally direct. 147 or nothing, no middle ground. The two positions have not moved towards each other despite months of public back and forth. The fight the division wants the most remains the one that refuses to get made. The fight the division wants the most? This is the fight the welterweight division wants the most? According to the author, it is.
Shakur get down. Stop playing with me. You know how he get down.
Okay,
you
hold
know
on.
how he get down.
Hold on.
You know
Now,
how he
Bernie,
get down.
with
You
who?
know how he get down. So stop
Okay,
playing.
with who?
You know how
Bernie?
that little dude get down, and you
With
know
who?
that dude ain't turning down no fades. You know
Okay,
how that dude
Bernie,
get down.
I'm
You know
asking
how that dude get down.
your
Now,
blood
like
pressure,
you said,
Bernie,
since you talking
Bernie,
all that shit, when he moved up to get that WBC mandated, you niggas should have took the fight. If he getting the WBC mandated, you niggas ran out the division. That's what you should have did. You talking all that shit, he went above your head because you niggas tried to lowball him. When he went up there to get what he deserved, you niggas bounced. Now, them is facts. He went, I don't give a fuck if he fought for one belt. He wanted to fight. That's why he went for the mandate, to get the money, to get his respect. You niggas was trying to disrespect him based off what the fuck you niggas did. You niggas ain't got nothing to do with that man. You niggas always trying to worry about what another nigga doing. He didn't give a, don't worry about what the fuck you did. Nigga, he said, nigga, you go respect me. And he went above you niggas' head to get that, and you niggas bounced. Fuck that. He didn't need all them fucking belts. If he cared about undisputed, he would have stayed at 130 and did it. He didn't give a fuck about that. He wanted to fight Devin Haney. That's what he wanted.
Bill Haney is not an easy man to render speechless because most of the time he's a fucking motor mouth. He can't shut the fuck up. So when he's sitting there silently, as Bernie the Boxer exposed how Devin lowballed Shakur with a 25% offer, Shakur went to the World Boxing Council to get the fight mandated so that a fair purse could be given, and that's when Devin ran to 140 to avoid the fight. Do you believe that? Do you believe Bernie's version of the story? I do, because at that time, Devin Haney was very tight at the weight, where Shakur would have felt refreshed, invigorated, moving up to 135, not having to cut the extra 5 to make 130. At lightweight, he would have felt fine, but Devin? Devin was killing himself to get down there. So Devin didn't want that fight at that time, and I believe that it's the way that Bernie says it is. They lowballed Shakur as a means to stop the fight from happening, so he goes to the World Boxing Council, pushes for the fight to get ordered on the premise that as a mandatory, he might be able to finagle 30, maybe even 35% instead of the lowball 25 that the Haneys were offering him. I believe Bernie. Then why do the Haneys want that fight now? If they didn't want it at 135, why do they now want it at 147? Two reasons, two primarily. One, this weight favors Devin more than it favors Shakur. Now that Devin is at 147 and Shakur would be new to the weight and small for the weight. That's why all of a sudden they want it now. The weight is one factor, the money is another. So don't forget that Devin is WBO champion, and don't forget that Keyshawn Davis, not Shakur Stevenson, is his mandatory challenger. Devin and Bill figure we make more money boxing Shakur than we would boxing Keyshawn, because Keyshawn's still with Top Rank, and Top Rank aren't going to pay us like Turkey's going to pay us, like Saudi's going to pay us. Money is the second reason. Why do the Haneys want this Stevenson fight now? The weight is one reason, money is another. Shakur is rumored to be signing to Zmufa. I think the Haneys would prefer to fight Shakur over Keyshawn, because Keyshawn is still with Top Rank. And if it's Top Rank promoting the show, well, they're not going to overpay Devin. He knows that. Devin is still a free agent after all. He's still doing the I'm my own boss thing, the I'm my own boss shtick, when in reality, he's still relying on other people to pay him. Whether it's Keyshawn's people or potentially Shakur Stevenson's people, one way or another, Devin Haney still needs other people to pay him. And if other people have to pay you, are you your own boss? I mean, what about DHP, Devin's promotional company? Why doesn't DHP pay for the Stevenson fight? If you want him so bad, go get him. Make him an offer. They can't. They don't have any fucking money. They don't have a broadcast partner. DHP. Devin is about as much a promoter as I am an astronaut. Devin has been hearing the same industry rumors that we've been hearing about Shakur Stevenson migrating over to Zmufa, which in effect brings him closer to Turkey El Al Sheikh and all of that Saudi money. So if Devin all of a sudden is shifting his focus back over to a Stevenson fight, I think that has a lot to do with it. The Saudi money. And Shakur Stevenson's proximity to Turkey. That covers the gory details. Generally, I don't give a fuck about Devin fighting either of these guys. Devin is boring. Fucking boring. He'd be boring with Keyshawn like he'd be boring with Stevenson. So for me, it doesn't make a difference who he fights next. It's fucking boring. I don't know that he gets Shakur Stevenson next, and they seem to be at an impasse over the weight where Keyshawn Davis, he's the one who's got dibs. He's the one who's got a claim to fight Devin Haney via the WBO. If Devin wants to keep that belt, he's going to have to play ball. Now it's time for another installment of what has fast become one of the most popular segments here on the channel, Ring IQ Hate Mail. Jerry's back. Jerry didn't like Artur Beterbiev's recent quotes regarding his favorite fighter, David Benavidez, and in so many words, Jerry said, "What the fuck is this guy talking about?" Beterbiev's scheduled November 22nd, 2025 fight against Dion Nicholson in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, was cancelled because Beterbiev reportedly withdrew due to an unspecified injury. The bout was intended to be a stay busy match on the David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde undercard. While Nicholson announced the cancellation on social media, exact medical details regarding Beterbiev's injury were not explicitly disclosed. You were supposed to do what? Artur Beterbiev has been out of the ring due to persistent injuries, contract and promotional disputes, and a prolonged standoff regarding a highly anticipated trilogy fight against his rival, Dmitry Bivol. What the fuck? Riyadh's Benavidez versus Beterbiev setup, David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde, Beterbiev versus Dion Nicholson. WBC light heavyweight champion Benavidez versus Beterbiev would be an amazing fight that would attract a lot of interest from fans worldwide. It's understandable why Turkey would want to create interest in the clash first by having them share the same card on November 22nd on DAZN pay-per-view. That allows people to see them battle against other opposition in tune-up level fights. So the problem with Jerry's retort is that it's second and third hand information. Irrespective of what did or didn't happen with Dion Nicholson, you're hearing it from the horse's mouth.
You're hearing it from Artur Beterbiev himself.
After David Benavidez took care of Anthony Yard, Artur Beterbiev stepped up to fight him. And according to Artur, David's team must not have expected him to do that so fast, because when he did, they redirected their focus to Zurdo Ramirez.
That's according to Artur, not according to some boxing scribe and his anonymous sources. It's not second and third hand information. It's a quote from Artur Beterbiev himself.
What I think? Maybe Artur was under the impression he was going to get to fight David Benavidez, but David had already made up his mind. Just one fight into his light heavyweight campaign, he was already talking about moving up to fight Zurdo at cruiser, and that's what I said he was going to do. That's what he did.
So that's what it is.
But you can't invalidate Artur Beterbiev's version of the story with some second or third hand version of the story. What you would then have to do is go to Team Benavidez and get their version of the story. Why didn't the Beterbiev fight happen? Is what he's saying true?
Did he step up to fight you guys and you guys decided to move up instead?
That's irrespective of whatever did or didn't happen with Dion Nicholson. That's irrespective of journalists and their inside sources that they can't mention, because what you're hearing now is from Artur himself.
He ain't got no hair on his tongue. He's saying David ducked.
And Artur Beterbiev's not one of these talkative American types that spends all this time in front of the camera, relishes every opportunity to hear the sound of his own voice. Artur Beterbiev is a stoic.
Doesn't say much. So whatever he does say carries weight as a result.
Now I choose to read in between the lines. I said from the very beginning that David's campaign as a light heavyweight would come and go without a fight against Dimitri and without a fight against Artur. That's where we are. I said that when he moves up to cruiser, he won't move back down, but he won't fight Jai Opetaia either.
And that's where we are.
The reason guys like Jerry want to spend so much time splitting hairs over the details is they're looking for an angle to save face for David.
For them, that's what it's all about. Finding a way to make it okay that David didn't fight any of these people, when I've been saying from the beginning, he's not going to fight any of these people.
Didn't you get the memo?
And when I initially said it, it was guys like Jerry that were pushing back. No, David's going to take over. He's going to beat everybody.
Hasn't beat anybody. Not anybody worth remembering. Not any of the people I said, because I said he's not going to fight those people.
Where was I wrong?
So that you want to pull your head out of his ass every time somebody's got something to say about him. That sounds exhausting. It's like a full-time fucking job apologizing for David Benavidez and trying to justify why he didn't fight this guy and why he didn't fight that guy.
You would do a lot more for him and yourself if you said nothing at all and just breathe a sigh of relief that he doesn't have to fight Artur, and he's not going to fight Dimitri, because they would have exposed him. They would have beat him.
Lucky for you, neither of those fights are going to happen, or the Opetaia fight.
So just relish in the fact that your favorite fighter does everything in his power to avoid all the tough fights.
Got nothing to worry about.